would like to recognize my friend from California, Mr. DeSaulnier.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to thank all the witnesses for being here. Mr. Cheney, your organization did a report recently that identified 1.8 million credentials available in the United States. Another organization, reputable organization, did a report and evaluation that said of all those credentials, you only see about 12% increase in actually wage and benefit. So it seems we've got a real disconnect, and we have an opportunity in the Workforce Investment Act reauthorization to close that disconnect. So everything you've talked about increases efficiencies, benefits the American economy by connecting talent to where the need is. Technology, unfortunately, as a representative from the San Francisco Bay Area, I was told years ago, don't be seduced by the marketing of the technology. It's the application of that technology. In an environment right now where I hear young people all the time tell me about ghost jobs and how difficult it is, you sit there, it's very impersonal, you're on a digital platform that could be really beneficial, but it's not connecting humans to humans. And this, I say from somebody who is an employer in the service industry, where if you didn't identify people with inherent people skills, you didn't last very long in the hotel and restaurant industry. So, Mr. Cheney, to begin with you, how do we use this opportunity to actually change that? So 1.8 million credentials, but only a 12% identified benefit for all those people who are spending that money. There's a lot of waste in the system, and where that waste goes is just a drain on the American economy.
So thank you for the question, and I would agree there is an opportunity with the WIOA reauthorization to help address this. I would also say that there's an opportunity being taken right now in the workforce Pell regulation negotiation, where they're looking at how do we get better data about the outcomes of short-term programs. That is where the majority of the growth is happening in the marketplace, in these short-term programs, these skill-based training programs, and we don't have enough effort going into getting the actual outcome data. There is an initiative that's been stood up by the Strata Foundation called CredLens, which is targeting this exact challenge of how do we get better records, better information on the outcomes of short-term credentials. I think there's a lot that we can learn from the work that they're doing. But one of the things in WIOA is to really enforce the requirement that if you're going to be on an ETPL, the eligible training provider list, you have to report your outcome data so that we have a better ability to decide what we're funding and what we're not funding through that program, but we can extend that to other programs as well.
As a follow-up to that, this committee, before I was on it, and in California when I was chair of the Labor Committee, we were having a lot of problems with for-profit colleges, where what we did in California was just say, if this is what your advertising is, you are legally required to connect the dots to make sure that you're actually placing these people. And that's worked really well in terms of saving a lot of or creating an efficiency where the people who are applying and the employer knows that you're actually getting value out of what they're marketing. Mr. Kaplan, do you have anything to add to that in your experience?
I do. I think it's one of the really important to look at the fact that we're really focused on turning all these credentials into digital objects. I'm going to sort of take down that path here because I think that one of the challenges that people have in receiving a credential is what do you do with it? All mine are hanging on my wall. So I think it's, we need to make those more powerful for people by giving them digital control over it, and therefore they can share it more broadly. We also need to encourage employers to move towards skills-based hiring so that they can look at the credentials and the skills within those credentials that people have, and they can use them as a match. Now, one final thought I think in this area is also, we're also trying to encourage the proliferation of this digital information over time. As we get more information out into the universe, we ought to be able to see how credentials and skills coming from one place match to people's abilities to get jobs, because all that information is going to be out there. And so I think that if we're able to inspect the data more accurately, we have more data available, people can be used, we can really tighten up this connection between the skills that people are getting and the jobs that they're getting.
That's great. And one other thing, I just think we can look at other economies who do this better. the Germans, for instance. Now, I know culturally it's different, but connecting, whether it's a craft or it's a college degree credential, you're connecting talent with the job opportunities and looking and also measuring where there's going to be changes. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.